Hey, it's Daniel. So I am in Alaska once again. I'm in Anchorage, Alaska. Stay with me. I'll have my everything from Alaska that I did here. Hi everyone, this is Daniel. I am back in Alaska, and boy, a month changes. It was really warm out here a month ago, and you said that was the warmest
I said what I told you was that the world was put on notice by Alaska. We are the canary in the coal mine. You ever heard of that term?
Canary in the coal mine.
Right. What happens here makes decisions for the rest of the world. This is where you find out for the whole world what the whole world will be going through.
Okay, before we get too into that, let me introduce who I have here today. And what is your name again?
People call me Ziggy.
Ziggy.
My actual name is Richard Ziegler.
Okay.
And I've been up here since '79.
He is a staple in this community here in Anchorage, Alaska. Sorry.
Yeah, I ran for mayor 3 times. And I've been painting walls all over Alaska for the last 30 years. I do a lot of the murals that when you come to Alaska you will see on the different walls. A lot of them portray the Alaska culture, that kind of thing. There is a couple. I did a optical illusion this year on one, and I've been working on this one educating people about hemp. So I did a whole wall on that.
Okay, and so he has a beat on the community. So what are you're talking to me about some of the problems that you see here in Anchorage in your community.
I was telling you about I thought we live in a community that has policy of like sterilization. They're sterilizing the community, or you want a cookie cutout. You get the grassroots are demolishing, or the government's kind of demolishing the grassroots of our community, and somehow we need to pull that back into perspective because it's not working out. You know, you got homeless people here that are about to even be more homeless. We had a certain amount of homeless now. Our governor cut back so much income for the homeless that we're going to have 800 people put out on the street because of the cutback that this governor has done to the state of Alaska. So you got 800 more people they're going to put out on the street to be homeless, from the disabled, from the elderly, from women with children. And this is the kind of policies that we're seeing being made around us now. Since that has happened, we've seen a little bit of push down here in the community where they have cut off the electrical plugs for the homeless. They have cut off the community to have some substance, because these people need to be able to plug in their phones to charge them up in case of an emergency. And they took that away. And things like that, just little nicks and picks to the lowest end of our community, to the homeless, to the people that most people don't think they count for anything. Well, what did you think if they started voting? Would you take them more seriously then? If they were voting, if they were making a difference, if they were giving back to the community, would that make a difference to everybody? Would they take them seriously, or would they keep on trying to deny them the rights?
People aren't being valued because of their status.
You have a class system going on, and that's got to change. And you have the haves and the have-nots. A lot of the have-nots there's going to be a whole lot of them.
And many people don't get the permanent fund because they don't have an address, right?
Well, some of that, and a lot of them just the permanent fund to some of us is just a pacifier. That little bit of money they give you barely takes care of you, like for a month's worth in the wintertime, or for your rent, or for food, or whatever. You don't get much out of it, especially if you have a family or you're just one individual like myself. $1,600. Well, if I'm lucky, I'll get a month's worth of rent out of it, or something like that, or a little bit of food from it, or something like that. But then that's gone. Then the rest of the time, I got to struggle the rest of the year. We're not like the Arabs. We're not like other oil countries where they take care of their people at all. They don't do that here in Alaska. They don't take care of their people. They haven't done nothing about creating indoor industries up here. They've always relied either on the oil or seasonal work. The rest of the time, we all sit around here dying from being poor here through the winter, because even the businesses have to struggle all winter long. They save all summer long with the tourists and stuff, and then they have to really struggle through the whole winter to get through the winter with that little bit of money that they made from the tourists. because there is no indoor industries here. We don't have cottage industries that would keep people at work all year round. Alaska don't have that, which it should have. With all the resources that we have here, we're really squandering this place big time.
Okay. And so
and squandering the oil money.
And in previous shows, I interviewed an expert on the permanent fund who talked about there being the big reason that the permanent fund isn't well funded is because of corruption, is what he felt.
Oh, yeah.
And so you feel that too?
Well, I feel there's some corruption going on in there, because I've always even running for mayor and putting it out that I think that the permanent fund, the people that are running it, should be investing in our state instead of investing in the stock market, investing in all kinds of shit outside the state, but not investing in the state itself. It really is shameful, because they rely on the stock market to make that money for the state, for the permanent fund, and then they dish out for the rest of us whatever that they made of that year, or how well, you know how it works. But it just seems that they really squander the oil money by investing it out of our state constantly, to the point that our state is not really benefiting from our oil money. I don't see no investments here on cottage industry, indoor industries here going on at all. I mean, a lot of these people could be put to work. We got homeless people like you would not believe. Why are they homeless up here in one of the richest states in the union? We got less than 1 million people in the whole damn state. Does that make sense to you? Does that make any kind of sense at all? Being the richest state in the union,
doesn't make sense.
And we got less than 1 million people in the whole damn state, and we can't even take care of our own people.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just completely, I don't know what else to say.
You sound frustrated. So
yeah.
Let me talk to you a little bit about Andrew Yang. That just started out with just a Andrew Yang conversation. But
right, it is.
So specifically what Andrew Yang wants to do is he wants to build a trickle-up economy.
Oh yeah, it'd be nice.
By giving every American over the age of 18 $1,000 a month, paid by the tech companies, because we found out that our data is worth more than oil now. And
we should be proud. Then they should be sharing it with us. You got that right. That's where it should be going, back to the people.
To the people. So every person over 18, $1,000 a month.
Using my information, using what I do on the internet, I see what you're saying, because they sell it to the highest bidder kind of thing, with people want to profit from what you might buy on the internet, or what you look at. Or I understand that it's a field of a bunch of tech farmers out there, but you might say, and they're not paying anything to the people that they're farming.
The point is, we need to invest in our people and create an economy that works for us. And
yes, we do.
That's why it wants to give everyone $1,000 a month, free and clear. You don't have to. You don't have to qualify. You don't pay the tax. You don't have to qualify for it. You just get it to do with what you want, and it stays in our community, because we use the money more in our community than paying Jeff Bezos and the gang. So do you think that would help solve problems?
It all depends on how you do it. I guess for some folks they would say that giving it to people is the same thing as handing it out again. Nobody has to work for anything. Because if you got $1,000 a month, you can basically live off that pretty good.
Well, some people can.
Right, some people can. Some people can't. Yeah, that's the ones that are greedy and want more and more and more. Me. I know. That's part of the problem that we're having right now. So if you give them $1,000 to do that, why don't we invest in more indoor industries? There's investment that needs to go into our roads, and make all of our roofs white now instead of black, and make all our roads white instead of black, because one of the problems of heating up this place is that we have black everywhere. People don't realize this is a simple thing like that, and they're starting to do that. Some people have taken and whitened their roofs, just like what the Arctic's about. We're supposed to be a reflective place for the planet, so we don't heat up. Well, without ice, without snow, guess what?
The idea is that with the money in our hands, we would have more agency, or being able to choose what we want to do with it, so we could invest.
Right, but how would you get the people involved to do that? That's the thing. How would you get the people? Okay, you gave me $1,000 a month, so you need me to dish out how much for the roads, how much for the police department, how much for this, how much for that. You got all these things that have to be taken care of, the care for the elderly, the care for the disabled, the care for, these are all things, that's where that money is supposed to be going in the first place. Mm-hmm. Medical for everybody, education for everybody. If you're going to invest it this way to help everybody out.
So what I'm hearing is the $1,000 a month in everyone's hand is great, but we also need to invest in our communities and into programs that make everybody's lives better as well.
Right.
So
it's like medical. I believe just like Bernie does about, it's a human right as far as I'm concerned. Because one of the things, if you want a community that works, a community that is really good, you want a healthy community.
absolutely.
When you have healthy people, you have healthy community. When you have unhealthy people, you have an unhealthy community.
Well, I think
mentally and physically.
so. All of the Democrats pretty much are in on changing our medical care because our medical care doesn't work for us anymore.
This greed that we have going on is really getting out of hand. As far as I'm concerned, the greed has gotten out of hand. We're not taking what needs to be done, and we're not even thinking about our planet at all. We're so. I mean, the person that we have in there now has done nothing but try to divide us, try to separate us, and trying to destroy our environment. He has no concept of what's actually going on in the world. He has no idea. He should come up here. I know he has been here. I know he has been here, and he's scaring the shit out of me. Let's put it that way, because he doesn't understand this guilt shit, and this praise and blame shit that he does to try to manipulate the people is not working, and quit doing it. We don't need to have guilt put on everybody every time you turn around. You want to guilt your neighbor.
We have a new choice in 2020. That's why we need to not screw this up.
We're a country made up of immigrants. We always have been. These are the real indigenous people that you see sitting around here that are not working. They ain't got a job because nobody wants to give them a job.
That's why I like Andrew Yang, because he's a first generation American. His parents are from Taiwan.
Right.
He knows how important immigrants are. He knows how important immigrants are, and he wants to reshape the economy so it works for us.
Well, the idiot that's in there now, he's an immigrant. His family was an immigrant. No matter how you look at it, he can never come away with that. So all the shit that he's doing toward immigrants, he's doing toward his own family. If you really truly think about it, you treat people like you want to be treated. You understand me?
His own wife's an immigrant.
That's right.
So yeah, I understand.
And to do this thing with blame game with the Hispanic people, to call them names like, I've seen the pictures of the people at the border. Ain't that caravan or whatever you want to call that thing? It ain't nothing got to do with anything when you got children, old ladies, families. I mean, these are people at the border trying to look for a safe place to be.
Okay. Well, let's not go down too many rabbit holes, but talk to me just a little bit about...
You're going to edit this thing?
Well, I'll see what I can do to edit it into a coherent story, but talk to me a little bit about you were talking about the homeless people. If they have more things to do, then they are going to be more valuable to the community.
This year we did something that really scared the city and scared the governor a little bit. They had a little protest out on the park strip, and it started off as a protest against the governor cutting back on all the benefits for homelessness, for housing, for anybody. He just cut it all completely, to the point that we were going to have over 800 people put out on the street like the first of the month or whatever. Well, the city declared a state emergency and got the money to somehow got the money to take care of the issue. And one of the problems that we've been having for so long is it's always about some politician patting himself on the back for a program that they have created for the homeless. No have any idea what it is to be homeless or what it is to do for the homeless. Never went bothered to ask them what it would take to solve their issues of what's going on with them and stuff like this. And then I went to the protest. Somebody called me and let me know that there was a thing going on Park Strip. Go out and check it out. And it was about the governor and everything like that. And I got with the people who organized it, and I asked them. I said, "Hey, what would you think about a civil disobedience act? That I go among the homeless and I ask them to all come out of the woods where they've been being raped and being robbed and being beat up and being assaulted and all this other kind of shit that's been going on for so long." And all they can do is show pictures of these campsites that are all demolished and trash all over the place and stuff like that. And then they talk about how their programs work to clean it up. And it never does clean it up. It never does work. And so I got a whole bunch of homeless people to come out of the woods I had almost over 100 of them out there on a park trip. They kept it totally clean. You know, it would have blown your mind. All I had to do was encourage them to, what do you call,
to come together and
embrace them, or to empower themselves. To empower themselves, to help themselves, and all I had to do was convince them that they can do their own security, they can do their own, they had their own sleep-off tent, they had their own security people that were among them themselves, and they would take turns and patrolling the camp, make sure nobody's being hurt, nobody's fighting, nobody's doing all the things that normally would go in the camp, and they kept it totally clean. You should see no trash whatsoever.
I've always thought
these were homeless people doing this.
I've always thought that having like
and it was like a little village is what it was. It was like our own little village. The church groups came out and fed them.
I always thought having a village of tents for homeless people was a great idea, but how would that work during the winter also?
Well, up here, believe it or not, people live in the woods up here in the wintertime. It already happens already. How do they do it? Ask them how they do it. They stay either, if they want a roof to put over their heads and a place to sleep and a meal, they have to get drunk the night before. Because the only way that the people will pick them up in the vans here.
So the police will pick you up if you've broken the law, like being drunk in public.
Right.
So that's when
that
they'll
gives
get
you housing. That gives you a place to lay. Don't freeze to death.
So that's what we're incentivizing to drugs, basically.
Right. This is our policy here in the state of Alaska. You get drunk, you get a place to lay. You get a place to sleep, you get a meal. I mean, just.
So that's why I feel just giving the money to people to take care of themselves is the best.
You know, you might
idea.
have a good point there. Now, thinking about that, as long as we have people that are helping those who really need the help, guide them through it so they just don't squander it and become a problem out on the community. You don't want to pay them to be drunk. You don't want to pay them to be drug addicts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you do have to figure out how we can do it and in the process of helping them. But like you say, you don't want the government doing it because they're the ones that are creating the problems in the first place. It's insanity, the policies that we've been doing year after year after year hasn't cured any of the homeless problem. And you let the homeless cure their own problems, you see a profound change, like what they're doing in Portland and other places where they're starting these little villages where they're giving them a little bit of land, and they go in there and you see they build themselves a house that they can live in and keep warm in, and then plus they build shops for them, and then they can be productive and do wood shops and things like that.
Your agent's calling you.
Yeah.
But so yeah, having the money. The thing too is, like, if you do squander it 1 month, well, it's gonna you're gonna get it again the next month. You can do better with it.
Yeah, but you need like encouragement, some way. Like I was talking about this with the community before about having mental health counselors on the street that are students that are going to school trying to learn mental health. You're teaching them in college to learn how to be mental health people or whatever. Well, why don't you give them what do you call that? Credit them and give them credit for coming out here on the street.
Or why don't we have camps where there's mental health professionals in the camps that can help the people out.
Direct them through the system, how you can get them help, how you can get people off the addiction issues. And I mean, if you know, one of the best ways of solving our addiction is to let them solve it let them create their own programs, because each program has to work for each individual, to be honest with you. And the way you solve some of the addiction issues out here is you give them the ability to solve it for themselves. You give them the ability to create their own program. See, we've been doing it for them all this damn time. We have no idea what it is to do that for them because we never been there. But we want to do it so we can pat ourselves on the back. And it's an insanity thing that we're doing day in and day out across America that's been going on way too long. You can't create programs that do not work. Create programs that do work. You know, give them a hand up. That's how it works.
Hand up.
Hand up, not a handout.
Gotcha.
Okay. A handout is what keeps them down. A hand up is what will keep them up, will keep them working. Providing with cottage industries, develop. I'm a shoe repairman, and I'm about my trades are about to go with me because nobody wants to learn the things that I know. How to make shoes, how to make sandals, how to make a hat, how to make a jacket, how to make all these different things. And here I am out here on the street just like the rest of them, and I can't teach anybody this.
Well, you know, I think if we had some money to work with, we could start a small business in the community, with hats
I get
and clothes
penalized
and
because
shoes.
If I get on any kind of assistance at all, then I get penalized for making more than what I'm supposed to make or whatever, and then I have to every day I have to.
So if you had 1,000, you didn't have to qualify for that. That would probably be a good idea. Anyway,
I like the idea.
That might be the solution, but
1,000
we'll have to see.
would just like what it does now when that permanent fund comes around. It would be this kind of pacifier for that month, because a lot of people don't live. Most people in society live over $1,000 a month.
Right.
But if you want to give it to people to help them boost their lifestyle, like you said, if you're giving it to somebody who already makes a good amount of money, then you're boosting it. You're boosting their wealth, and now when you do it for a homeless person.
But because it's for everybody, it gets rid of the stigma, because it's not a handout. It's just everybody gets it as being an American. So that's another thing. But
we kind of already do that already in a way. I mean, if you think about it, I guess government already spends that kind of money day in and day out already, without even giving it to the people at all. Well, they spent a whole lot more than that.
Well, all we can do is try it.
What does it come to if you gave everybody $1,000 a month? How many people do we have in the United States?
So it's a $2 trillion amount is the headline.
Every month?
It's a $2 trillion, $2 trillion a year, I believe. That's a good question. I got to make sure. But the point is, I think it's $2 trillion a year because we're a $20 trillion economy.
But you still got the other issues. I mean, you're still looking at, you're paying for a police department, you're paying for the ambulance service, you're paying for. I mean, these are all what we call public things that we do to make our society work real good or whatever. You got medical, you got Social Security, you got So these are all benefits that are already there, that were already there to benefit us all in the first place. Now, what's the name you talked about?
Andrew Yang.
The socialism or whatever. You already have social things going on. So when they try to put emphasis on socialism, we already have socialism in our society.
We have social programs.
We have. Well, okay, then the socialist programs, but they are still somewhat social, which I have no problem with. I think we should have them, because that's what keeps our because when
the true socialism is when
you pay your taxes, you're paying it for that reason, to take care of some of the issues. To take care of some of the issues, like with the police department, fire department, and to make sure that everybody's got medical.
It's usually called taxes. You guys don't do taxes because you have the permanent, or you have the oil money.
Right.
So
well, they still do have some. I mean, they have property taxes. They do have taxes up here.
Sales tax.
They got sales taxes over in next town's over. Anchorage has been voting it down since we don't want sales tax.
Right.
Because it just penalizes everybody.
So the point is, we have to have the money for services to help people, and the $1,000, and we shouldn't commingle. We shouldn't mix them up. We should have for the $1,000 a month and for basic services that we need to survive in our city and our community. So, okay. Well, I think we figured something out today. But thank you so much for speaking with me today. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
And from Alaska.
Now, tell me what Yang is about now.
Okay.
Give me that chance to do that.
Well, I thought we talked about it, but so he wants the $1,000 a month for every citizen. So that's the big thing. He wants
for medical for everybody?
Yes, he wants to phase out all the medical companies. So he doesn't want to do it in one shot. He wants to phase it out, but he wants the one payer system, right?
I'll be right over there.
So
we still need to do research.
We're
but
spending.
We just need to do it through a better means of doing it, not just maybe if all the people that want to be a part of it get together and group together as a group and do it as one, we might get a better quality of scientists doing the right thing. Just working together.
Ranked choice voting. He wants ranked choice voting, so you can put your second most favorite person, your third most favorite person that you want to vote for. So if your first person doesn't get it, it doesn't cross it out. It goes your second person goes up. It's called ranked choice voting, and it's in.
I would,
in a lot
like
of
I was
states.
telling you earlier, one vote, one count means more than anything else to me, because that's what democracy was really founded on.
Okay.
You know, that actually college thing didn't come around until later on, but
So
the one vote, one count is what really makes the vote really, it will put integrity to the vote, to realize that my vote can count for something.
he's really passionate about getting rid of the electoral college, so electoral college. So
Well, it's not just getting rid of it, it's getting rid of the stigma that it creates for the American people. It's not what we are founded on. We're founded on everybody's anticipation. Democracy only works when you have one vote, one count. When you have all this other crap added onto it, that's the reason why we're having the problems that we're having now with the jerry rigging and all this other stuff that's been going on with our vote. I want integrity back to our vote. I want our vote to really mean something, where every citizen in America will take their vote seriously, because they know that one vote, one count is what it's all about. That's the heart of what we're about.
he wants to give democracy dollars, so $100 each person to go towards
that
a
and a
candidate.
holiday. If you're going to have a holiday for anything, you should have a holiday for voting. That should be the biggest holiday that we ever.
Holiday,
I mean, for Christmas, I don't care.
And a tax holiday for paying your taxes. He wants to thank people for paying their taxes.
There you go.
And he wants a prosperity grant, meaning also giving every person $100 to be able to give towards a charity once a year. So
I can see that.
can help our communities and change the go to American scorecard, so that we can change how we measure our success. So there's some of the things, but he has everything outlined on his website.
Okay, what is he going to do
Yang
for the planet?
2020. He's going to incentivize with carbon taxes, and he's
Well,
going.
remember what I was telling you earlier?
He just came out with a very detailed environmental stance. I haven't been able to go through it all, but he does want to invest in nuclear, and he wants to.
What if I told you to get rid of all that?
Yes, there's a way. I know there's a couple of ways I've seen that we could have much more efficient energy, but the government or corporations
If
don't
you
want
look-
to
you look at
invest in it.
you look at that light pole right there. Do you look at that as how do you look at that light pole or that pole right there? How do you look at that thing? You look at it as just a
Tesla
pole?
coil.
No, the pole right there, the light pole right there.
Yeah, it's just a pole.
All day long, it does nothing, does it? It don't shine the light until nighttime, right?
Right.
Has anybody thought about how they can turn that into an energy maker? Like maybe put wind turbines on it, put some solar panels on it, and make round capacitors or batteries that fit inside the pole. So all day long, that pole could be making resources just from being there alone. It doesn't do anything now all day long.
Yeah, that would be a good. Have you heard of
you ever
solar
thought about
roadways?
a speed bump?
Have
Ever
you-
thought about a speed bump?
Have you?
Every time you go over a speed bump, if it was a bladder, there's so many different ways that we can cut that cord that the corporations have got us addicted to. That all we had to do is look at all the repetitive motions that us human creatures do.
We could create energy a lot more efficiently.
Yes, we could.
Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up though.
Okay,
So
okay.
from Alaska, this has been Daniel and
Ziggy.
Thank you very much, Ziggy. And take care, everyone. Subscribe, like, and let's get the word out about Andrew Yang as well.